can Allah know what Allah? How does Allah know that His knowledge is true? Yeah, or is the truth? And I said that one of His other attributes is that He is the truth. It's haqq.
Circular.
It's not circular because He is al-haq. Everything that. So let me ask you a question. Let me put it in a human language for you, right?
You know what a circular argument is.
It's not circular.
That's the worst.
Let me explain.
I'm sorry.
Say for example, if you have a sun, you know the sun, yeah, or a light. Let's say a candle. And you say, how does a candle emit light? I say because its essence is light. Yes. So I'm saying to you that what Allah emanates is truth because He is the truth. That's one of His intrinsic attributes.
What a bad explanation that is of why a candle emits light. A candle emits light because of the emission of photons.
Yeah, fine, but that's part of its intrinsic attributes, right?
Atoms.
No, you're going into a naturalistic.
Agreed. Naturalistic what? That's an explanation.
Good, it's a good explanation.
You could actually answer every question ever posed to you. Literally every single question.
But would you agree with me?
That's part of its essence. And I'm like, gee, Muhammad,
so, for example, if you have a sun.
So you've told me nothing.
But you're saying, how does it operate? We don't know how it operates.
Okay, but that's the answer.
Yeah, that's the answer.
So the point is, you have no idea how Allah knows.
Well, we don't know how
Allah knows it's true.
No, hold on. No. That's a different question.
No, you said you have no idea how it
operates. No. I said the operation of the. Let me explain. For example, we know that Allah has certain attributes. Yeah.
Well, you don't know this, right? Because you don't even know how it works.
Let me explain. Some of the attributes of God are that He's knowledgeable, that He's the truth. Yeah. So by extension, just like a light, just like the sun is made up of hydrogen and it emits hydrogen, it emits through its rays. Yeah, rays. The sun and the rays. The sun causes
emits radiation.
Yeah.
Hydrogen.
Okay, fine. But no problem. Yeah.
Emits light.
Yeah, emits light. So how does it emit the light? Because it possesses it in the first place. Yes?
No, that's not why it emits light. But never mind.
Yeah, no problem. But that's the same idea.
Let's just say that you're saying it's an essential property of it.
Yes.
Yes, but that's a circular argument.
But you're asking the question was how does it operate?
No. The question is very simple. It's how does Allah know that Allah's knowledge is correct, right? And so you're saying we don't know.
No, we're saying that.
No, you just said
we don't know how the operation of Allah's knowledge is.
If you don't know, why on earth do you?
Yeah, that's the fallacy of incredulity. That's the fallacy of ignorance.
Why on earth do you trust it?
That's the fallacy.
It's like you can say that, you can make the same argument for a supernaturally omniscient pizza. Just say that's an attribute of the pizza. You can say the Bible is true because the Bible is true.
That's a false analogy.
No, it's exactly the same analogy. You're saying it's one of its attributes.
Wait, hold on.
I'm saying, Muhammad, how does this work?
No, hold on. You just said, this is what you said, right? You said you got an omnipotent pizza.
I said, no, I didn't. I said you could make exactly the same argument.
No, you can't.
For anything.
No, you can't.
By saying it's one of its properties.
If you say the pizza is omnipotent, that's a contradiction.
That's one of its properties.
Hold on. If you say the pizza is omnipotent, that's
I said omniscient.
Omniscient,
actually.
Fine.
I said that's one of its properties.
Whether it's omnipotent or omniscient, if you attach any omni properties to a pizza, that's demonstrably falsifiable.
You don't know that. It's one of its attributes.
No. I can actually disprove that.
You can't actually.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
You can't.
If you say that the pizza has.
You don't actually deal in disproofs. But the point is this. Let's
No.
Let's get back to the topic.
Sorry. You said no. Run away from this, please. You said that the pizza is omniscient.
I'm not running away. You've just made a circular argument.
You said the pizza is omniscient.
The foundation of your
how can a pizza be omniscient or have any omni properties?
I'm pointing out the reductio of your response.
A pizza cannot have any omni properties.
How does Allah know that what He knows is correct?
Does a pizza, is it possible in your mind?
Let's not talk over each other, so I'll let you finish.
Is it possible in your mind that a pizza can have any omni properties?
It's called a reductio. Do you know what that is?
I'm asking you a simple question, which is yes or no.
Do you know what a reductio is?
With all due respect, my question is simple. Is it possible in your mind that a pizza can have any omni properties?
It's not the point of the argument.
No.
Right?
I'm asking you a question.
Saying that it could be made. Right?
I'm asking you one question. Look, with all due respect, I've answered all your questions.
I'm answering.
Do you want a pen? Do you want to write this down?
I'm answering.
All right. So let me give you a pen. Let me give you a pen. Can we write this down for him? Because he needed me to write the question down. Have you got a paper, my friend?
Paper? No.
Has anyone got a paper?
I can't write.
Yeah. Can someone provide a paper from that? I think you might have. No?
You make a fool of
Yes.
yourself.
No, hold on. Sorry.
Let's say
No, let me write it down for you, all
I
right?
find it.
Is it possible? Yes. That a
It's
pizza.
not being able to answer my question.
I'm asking you the
It's
question.
correct response
Can
to
have
that, to develop a fictitious question.
omni properties. No, you
you
made the
hope
claim.
I can't answer.
You made the claim.
You're the one making the claim.
Hold on, it's on.
But
It's
you
on.
just
It's
told
on
me that
there.
You don't know how
You
Allah's
just said.
knowledge
You just
works.
said you could say.
I don't care about pizzas.
Hold on,
Your
you did.
whole
You're the
worldview
one
is
who.
based on Allah.
You just
And
said
you just told
pizza.
me that you don't know how his knowledge
So
works.
do you retract what you said?
Does anyone remember him saying
Oh, yeah,
that
okay,
he has no
okay.
idea
Are you a crime scene
how Allah's
investigator?
knowledge works?
Okay.
Does
All
anyone
right.
remember that
Thank
he
you very
said?
much. So you said, and it's on there,
Okay.
that you could say that the pizza has
I
omniscience
said
or
a
omnipotence.
reductio absurdum argument.
I'm
could
asking
be
you the question.
that An attribute of a thing is
No,
this.
but you don't understand this. I've written it
I
down for you.
understand it better than you.
Is it good? Is it possible that a pizza can have any omni properties?
It's as possible.
Yes or no?
It's as possible as a being that you have no evidence for existing.
No. Yes or no?
Could
Is
have
it-
those omni
Well, we
properties.
know a pizza exists. Is it possible that a pizza can have any omni properties?
Well, you don't know every kind of pizza that might exist.
No, a
So-
pizza in
so
our
it-
definitional sense of the word, where it's dough
I'm sorry, I'm
with
talking about a
toppings.
different pizza. Different
Margarita,
pizza.
margarita.
No.
Margarita.
Don't limit the pizza. The pizza
No,
has 99 attributes.
a pizza has
I'm
doesn't have
sorry,
99
do
attributes.
not, excuse me.
So now you're
telling
defining.
me.
So yeah, now the pizza has become God. Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
But
so
no-
that's
no,
the
but-
point.
no.
You can't say it's
So-
just
so-
an
so-
attribute
hold on.
because you're not answering anything.
But here, with all due respect,
You
you said
understand.
a pizza and you went like this. A pizza.
I said, I did not.
What's a pizza?
Okay.
What's a pizza?
I said a reductio of your argument.
Listen.
Right? Do you know what a reductio is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So reductio of your
Yeah,
argument.
but
when I
before we
asked
talk
you-
about reductios, I want to ask you a
I
question.
listened to you.
Can you show him that
without-
when
without
we need it? Yeah.
interrupting you.
Please.
I
Yes.
listened
Go
to
ahead.
you without interrupting you. Okay. And I simply asked you.
Yeah. Well, I was the one asking
How,
you.
why are you interrupting me? I simply asked you, how does Allah know that Allah's knowledge is correct?
We don't know how Allah's knowledge
Don't
operates.
interrupt me. I did not interrupt you. Give a little song and dance.
Go on.
Contain yourself. You can do that?
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you asked me, okay, or rather I asked you initially, how does Allah know that Allah's knowledge is correct? You said it's one of his attributes.
Yes.
We agree on that, right? And I said saying it's one of his attributes is not answering the how question, right? Agreed?
Yeah.
And then you said, oh, we don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. But you haven't actually explained why then you should trust it if you don't even know how it works.
Okay.
Last thing I'll say, I'll hand over to you, we're going to be civilized here, right? I said a reductio of that argument could be that you could invent any object and say it's just one of its properties.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you, have you finished?
Okay, so
Go ahead.
I'm just looking for an answer
Yeah.
to the question
Yeah. Okay. Good.
of why you would trust Islam.
No. Fine. I understand now what you're saying. In terms of howness, when it comes to any of the attributes of God, the Muslim understanding is that we don't know how any of the attributes operationalize on an essential level. We don't know how. But what we do know is, and that's what we say, the Quran says in chapter 42 verse 11, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ, that there's nothing like him and that he's the all-seeing, all-hearing. In other words, anything that you can conceptualize in regards to, like, for example, Allah is all-knowing, all-seeing, all-hearing, where we can see, we can hear, but our seeing and our hearing and our knowledge works in a completely different way to the way Allah's seeing, hearing, and knowledge works, which means, for us, the howness when it comes to any of Allah's attributes is something we cannot, it's unfathomable, right?
It's beyond human comprehension.
Yes, it's beyond, but the whatness is possible to understand, but the howness,
Well, it's possible to believe,
yes.
but not to understand.
Yes, but
I believe he knows everything.
Yeah, it's conceptually
and I believe that everything
conceivable.
he knows
Right.
is right, even though I have
So,
no idea
so
how
I
he
answered
could.
your, does that answer your question?
No, you've just said we don't.
But
you,
that-
you've
no,
just said
that's-
humans can't understand.
Yeah, fine, good.
Right.
But does
And
that,
so my question,
your question, yeah.
my question then
Yeah,
would be,
yes, sir, yeah.
right, let's say I'm Lawrence Krauss,
I
right?
don't, yeah, whoever, yeah.
No, let's say I'm Lawrence Krauss.
No
That's
problem.
the guy you know about, right? So Lawrence Krauss doesn't know explicitly how something can come from nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yet he believes it.
Yeah, but it's a,
But,
yeah. go
okay,
ahead.
so
Yeah, go.
he can just say,
Yeah.
right? Well, it's just beyond our understanding.
Yes, but his,
But
sorry. Go ahead.
how are you not just...
Here's the difference. The difference is this. He's making a claim which is falsifiable, whereas I'm making a claim which is unfalsifiable. That's the difference.
That's a bad thing to be doing, right?
No,
unfalsifiable claim.
No, it's
right?
not bad.
No, it really is. When you say, I have no idea how Allah could know that everything is right,
yes,
right? I have no understanding of how that could be.
Yes.
All I can say is, I believe it.
No. I'm saying, look, here's what I'm saying.
Believe it.
Let me explain the difference, if you don't mind.
says something better than you.
No, he doesn't. He
actually does.
No, let me explain why he doesn't. He's not...
You think he just has a pure faith?
No. Let me explain.
I won't interrupt you.
He said that the universe came from nothing. That's not only falsifiable, but it's been falsified.
It's not falsifiable.
Okay, so hold on. If you make the claim that something could come from nothing, yeah, and I can disprove that claim in all of the methods of inquiry that we know how to disprove that claim on.
That's not a disproof.
No, is it? Hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
All due respect, it is a disproof. Because now what you're saying is you're accepting some epistemological ways of systemizing an answer over others. If I say, look, 0 plus 0 equals 0, that disproves that 0 plus 0 equals 1.
According to a certain formulation of mathematics.
Good.
But that's a formalism.
No, I understand.
That's just according to a certain epistemology.
Good.
His epistemology is different from yours.
No, but
right?
so he doesn't believe in this.
So a property of nothing is that it can beget something.
Yeah,
just like a property of Allah is
there's no proof.
that he's
What's your
all-knowing.
evidence for that?
And you have no basis
What's your
for
evidence for
either
that?
of these two claims.
You just said something.
You have just the belief, though.
No, but what's
That's
your
the
evidence?
difference.
No, what's your evidence for that?
Well, you just told me it's one of his attributes.
No, I'm not talking about Allah.
So I have no evidence. I have as much as you.
No.
Which is just that it's
So,
one of his attributes.
but your question was not how do you prove the attribute of knowledge. Your question was relating to a mechanical aspect of that knowledge.
Mechanical aspect.
No, you were asking of the howness. I'm telling you there's a different. You haven't come and asked me the question that you want to ask. You need to ask me in order for me to prove. You've asked me a question that's irrelevant to a proving discourse. Because if you came and asked me, if you don't mind, we're having an interchange. If you came and asked me, how can you prove that Allah is knowledgeable or that has this characteristic of knowledge, then I can provide proofs. But if you ask the other question is, how does Allah know? Yeah, or how does Allah know anything at all? That's a different question. I'm very open with you on the second one. How Allah knows, we say we don't know. How? The mechanics of it, we don't know how. And you can't then say, well, hold on, sorry, if you don't mind. You can't then say, well, that means to say that there's no evidence for it, because that's the fallacy of, that's an argument from ignorance. You know that, yeah? It's a fallacy, right? Do you understand this point?
So, yeah, but saying that you have no way of knowing how he could know that what he knows is correct, you have no way of knowing.
No, but that's that.
Right?
Yeah, there's two things you need to separate.
I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah.
That's the bedrock of all of Islam.
No.
It is the attributes of Allah.
Yeah.
Is the bedrock.
Yeah, but the whatness, not the howness.
Of all of Islam.
But the whatness, not the howness, though.
That's the bedrock.
The whatness, not the howness.
Three. I'll do it once more. Let's just get out of our system, right? That's the bedrock
The
of
what?
all of Islam. That's the bedrock of all of Islam, right?
Okay.
That basically that Allah has a way of knowing that everything that He knows is haq.
No, but
right?
here's what.
Is
Yeah,
it true?
okay,
come on.
Yeah, sorry. Do you want to continue talking?
So the point about that is, right, that if you don't know how that state of affairs could ever be true, right? You have no understanding how it could be true. It's just an attribute.
Yes.
That comes from tradition.
No, it's not just that. We can argue it from first principles.
Okay, then let me ask you this simple question.
Yeah.
Do you think you could prove that Allah knows everything?
Yes.
Okay. Can I answer that? You don't have enough time because you aren't infinitely, we aren't going to be here forever, and you're going to go, by the way, Robert, that like 12th millionth thing that Allah, I can prove He knows it, you can't.
Oh yeah,
you just have a small subset of like, well, He predicted some stuff. So you can't actually prove that He knows everything, and you don't know even how He could.
Okay, good.
And so the bedrock of Islam really starts to kind of like...
No, I get what you're saying. Well, here's what I would say to you. There's two things I want to say. First of all, there's a conflation here, if you don't mind me saying, between the epistemological way by which we can find out what things are, A, versus B, the ontological reality of the thing itself, B. And what I'm saying is that just because we don't know how to assess the full ontological reality of a thing, quantum mechanics being an example, like we don't have a theory which kind of combines between micro and macro sciences right now. Let me just finish. No, we don't. We do, but never mind. Okay, well, I don't want to distract. You can bring your evidence for that. But then we don't have, in the philosophy of science, there's different perspectives. I don't want to go into it. There's fundamentalism, foundationalism.
Much more about it than you. Don't worry about it.
You might not. I don't know. You might do. You know, and if you do, you can teach me.
The whole point is about in the ontology is different from
So the whole point is this, is that models and theories, even in the philosophy of science, as you know, more than me, as you, I'm sure you, are always going to be limited. Do you understand? So that doesn't mean that things don't exist in the real world unless you're an anti-realist, right? What I'm saying is that even if you are an anti-realist from that philosophy of science or an idealist, it doesn't mean to say that you can divide now and say, look, just because X is unknowable is untrue. That's a fallacy. You have to understand that.
I didn't say it's untrue. I'm just saying how can you know it's true, which is different.
No, fine.
If I'd come and said,
not true. You said how.
Look,
you said
I
how.
can falsify Islam. I've got it. It's over. Right, then you'd have a case.
No, but
I didn't try.
But you are asking me about the howness, right?
I'm asking you how you make the positive case.
But you're asking,
And your answer to the positive case is it's just an attribute.
No. You weren't asking me about how to make a positive case.
How it's operationalized.
You were asking me how it works.
That's the positive case for Islam. Right?
That's not a positive case for Islam.
The positive case for Islam is that
according
Allah
to you
has these attributes.
But that's according to you.
And these attributes are true.
Yeah.
And they define all of reality. Right?
No, not
that's
really.
That's the basic case.
Here's what
Okay, let me finish.
Yes, go ahead.
I did. Okay. So
but that's not true.
I asked you how you cashed that out, right? And you said two things. You said the first thing is it's just an attribute. It's just an attribute, and we must admit we don't know how it's operationalized.
Yes.
And then I said, can you prove that he knows everything? You said yes. Then we found out you couldn't really.
No, you asked me to do it. Then you didn't give me a chance.
Okay. So you actually do think you can prove that Allah knows everything?
Yes.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, what you have to define everything. What's your definition of everything?
No, you just said yes. So
we're having that discussion now. So because everything is a thing, right? Or is a series of things. So I'm asking you, what's everything?
I mean, without limitation.
So everything in existence.
You're going to prove to me that Allah knows everything.
Yeah, I know, but we're having a discussion. I know you seem a little bit uncomfortable right now.
I'm completely comfortable, but let's say there's a fact.
Yes.
All right. Let's imagine that there is a finite number of facts.
Yes.
Let's imagine that there's an infinite number of facts.
Yes.
In all cases,
yes,
you can prove that Allah knows them all. Right.
Yes.
That's it. Go ahead.
Okay. So my proof is as follows, yeah. My proof that God or Allah is that, first of all, that He is a necessary being and that He knows everything, first requires me to prove that He's a necessary being. And I'll say that they're inextricable things. So if you want me to prove the secondary thing, you have to allow me to prove the first thing. And my proof for showing that He's a necessary being is as follows. Necessary being, in my definition, is that He's the uncaused foundation, or if you like, the uncaused foundation of all things that exist. Yeah? How is that the case? I say that must be attested to for two primary reasons. Number one, there cannot be an infinite regress of causes, and or number two, there cannot be an infinite regress of dependent things. So because
you're going to make the ontological argument, I know.
Not really an ontological, it's more of a contingency argument. But what I was going to say was that because there cannot, because A, you allowed me to, I'm proving, right? Because A, there cannot be an infinite regress of causes, and B, that there cannot be an infinite regress of dependent things. Therefore, there must be a necessary existence. The necessary existence, by definition, is where all the dependent things and all the causes depend upon something else for its existence, which is independent and is self-sufficient. Otherwise, A, there would be an infinite regress of causes, or B, there would be an infinite, or B, there would be an infinite regress of dependent things. So because of the absurdity and impossibility of A and or B, there has to be a necessary existence. So far, are we on the same page?
No.
Infinite regress of things. I didn't say that. I said two things. I said A, there cannot be an infinite regress of causes, and or B, there cannot be a regress of dependent things, contingent things.
Right.
Yeah. So can you defend yourself?
Sure. So it depends on what theory of time you have, right? So you can basically have an eternally existing block of time, right, where causation is something which is an illusion of the illusion of time, right? That breaks that argument completely.
Not really.
It does.
Because it's mine's an atemporal argument.
Because the things don't cause each other.
No, I
right?
appreciate
That's
it.
illusory, right?
No, but causation doesn't have to
Don't
be...
interrupt me, mate. Not after I've listened to you patiently, right? We'll play the game, okay? So that breaks that argument, right?
That's a great argument.
Listen, I heard you say so many things which I think are wrong, right? And I was like, alright, getting your perspective, alright? So just try and do the same, okay? So basically, without temporal causation, right? You can't have causation. You have blocks of time. That causation is illusory, right? And time makes that illusion appear to us. Okay, that's well known to be theory of time, which breaks the causal dependency. The other thing is that you can have basically a circularity, right? So you can basically have a circularity which is just continuing, where you can have time, you can have causal dependencies, but they basically don't infinitely regress because simply they cycle. So you know of like bubble universes, right? And the like. So the notion that you require this being and that you can prove it's the case is broken by two: A, by an interpretation of time, B, by an interpretation of cosmology, but C, also that you don't know, right? You exist within a universe that you and I will admit to each other we don't really understand the full physics of, right? We don't. You admit that we have, that could be an acausal quantum world, and we don't understand how it relates to this one. So to say it's absurd that there can't be something which doesn't depend on another.
No, but what I
said... I'll finish because I'm not going to monologue. But basically, when we've admitted that we don't have a final theory of physics, to say something about physics is absurd, you know you think.
All right, can I respond to you?
Go ahead.
So when I said and or, it was an important conjunctive element to my argument. Because when I said now that you cannot have an infinite regress of causation and or dependency. Now when I say dependency, what I meant was contingency. And contingency is different to causation, in so much as the definition of contingency is basically reliance. Okay? Now, aspects of one thing relying on another thing doesn't actually depend on time whatsoever. There's no way to prove that. Whereas causation... No, hold on. So what I'm saying is, my argument is not a temporal argument. It does not require time to be made. Ontologically, my argument can be made in abstract terms without any reference to time whatsoever. So what you have to disprove is my argument now, specifically the argument about contingency, is that there cannot be an infinite regress of contingent things relying upon other things ad infinitum, without there being an existence of an independent thing through which all other dependent things can depend upon, and that thing depends upon nothing, because that would constitute the foundation for all other dependent things existing. Yeah. What you have to show is why... because remember, what I said, what you said, number one, was the time element, which I've said to you, it's nothing to do with...
You can't show that
my argument.
It be time, the blocks of time depend on...
No, I don't care about time.
You can't show...
No, I'm not making a time-based argument.
It doesn't matter.
Good.
But on any theory of time, you can't show that one moment depends upon another.
I'm not saying moment. I haven't said this.
You said dependency.
But I didn't say moment.
So that dependency needn't exist.
Hold on.
That it does
you
exist.
just said moment.
You can't prove that one thing depends upon another.
Oh, yes, I can prove that actually, yes. All right, so you depend upon your parents for your existence.
Why?
Because had your parents not consummated their marriage or whatever it is, you wouldn't exist.
They haven't consummated their marriage.
Or whatever it may have been.
They haven't consummated their marriage.
So you don't depend upon anything for your existence?
So, no, we're just running your argument.
You don't depend upon anything
You're
for
saying I
existence.
depend on something which happened in the past.
I didn't say anything about past.
You're saying my parents can have sex in the future.
No, I didn't say anything about past or future. You're putting these words into my
So
mouth.
you're saying my parents
Just
could
put-
have sex
hold
in
on.
the future, and
No,
that would make me.
No, I haven't said that. So now you're poisoning the well because
No,
you know.
I'm asking.
You said things. Now, how do I prove that things are dependent upon other things?
I'm waiting to hear how you
Yeah,
do
I've just
that.
given you a cosmological example.
No, I'm asking you how you do that.
I've just shown you. Are you dependent upon something for your existence?
So if I say no, right, you're going to prove that I am.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, because had it not been for X amount of variables.
Had it not been, that's the past tense.
Hello,
You're addressing time.
I'm not talking
Do
about
it
time.
without addressing time.
Doing it with
Prove that I'm
but we live in a
dependent.
but cosmological examples in this world are always going to be in reference to time.
Well, there you go.
No, but
so
I'm not-
when
hold
you
on.
tell me you're not making reference to time,
No,
and then you say
but this world-
cosmological arguments are always
no,
going to
no,
reference
no.
time,
In this world,
you have contradicted yourself.
is this universe?
Conversations in this universe.
Is this
Here we're stuck in Speaker's Corner.
Is this universe all that there is?
So you've contradicted yourself.
Is this universe all that there is?
Sorry?
Is this universe all that there is?
You're making an argument in this universe.
I'm asking you. Is this universe all that there
You're
is?
saying in this universe you're only ever going to be able to make a temporal
Is this
argument.
universe all that there is?
You just said in this universe that
Okay.
you're only able to make a temporal argument.
If you want to make a
You're in this
fine.
in this universe.
Fine. No,
and
no
you're
reference to
claiming
time.
not to make a temporal
No reference to
argument.
time. No reference to time.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Let me make the ontological case.
Okay.
Yeah. That 2 + 2 = 4.
Am I supposed to look impressed? I don't know what.
No, hello. 2 + 2 = 4. Yes? So 4, in this case, is contingent upon 2 + 2. Let me give you an analogy, another one, to help you understand it.
That's proof they could exist.
No, hold on. Is there any time there?
That God exists.
Is there any time there?
Yes.
Where's time in 2 + 2 = 4?
Okay. If you basically had 4,
Yeah.
okay, and it was just 4,
Yeah.
right? You had not had the addition of 2 + 2
Okay.
right prior. It was just 4. It would be contingent upon the addition of 2 + 2.
No, I'm saying 2 + 2 = 4. I'm giving you the whole equation.
No, it has to come before it for it to be contingent upon it.
Before
if
it.
4 things had always existed, they wouldn't
Where's
be
before?
contingent on 2 + 2.
Where's time in mathematics? Sorry, where's time in mathematics?
Well, that's the whole point, right? So that's why 2 + 2 = 4.
There's no time in
right?
mathematics.
There is actually.
Where?
So basically, that's why you have a temporal sequence in an algorithm. If you write the algorithm backwards,
No, hold
all
on.
right?
Mathematics exists
If you
without reference to time. Would you agree
You're
with
talking about contingents, right? Which is a dependent on something. You're saying 4 is contingent on 2 + 2. I'm telling you 4 needn't be contingent on 2 + 2.
I'm asking
You've
if it-
not proven a necessary contingency. You're trying to prove a necessary contingency,
this? Say that again?
right? Okay. You're basically, before we get to how Allah can know everything, right? We're trying to prove that He definitely does exist.
Yes.
Right? By contingency. That definitely it is the case
But
that
you-
these things. So when
yeah,
you say
I get you.
4,
Yes.
definitely depends on these two things. I'm saying 4.
No,
needn't
hold
depend
on.
2 + 2.
What I'm showing you is because the point is you said you can only talk about this universe, yeah?
No, I didn't say that. You said in this universe.
In this universe, yes.
You said.
Yes.
I'll just rephrase exactly what you said. You said in this universe you
Yes.
can only make temporal arguments
Yes.
because you referenced that.
Yes.
And I said fine.
Yes.
Then you have a problem, right?
Yes. If you're making cosmological argument alone,
Well,
but I'm not making a
You're
cosmological
making a
argument.
dependency argument.
No, but okay.
existing
Yeah,
doesn't depend on
I
2
see.
+
I
2.
see the interrogation. Can I respond to it? Yeah. So, my argument can be made ontologically as well as cosmologically. If it's made if the contingency, I'll admit to you, if the contingency argument is made cosmologically with reference to things in this universe, then it has to be made with examples, not necessarily with conclusions, but with examples which are contingent. So, for example, if I talk about you, like I did, yeah, you're a contingent being, you would agree, but you're saying that's with reference to time. So you exist with reference to you exist in time, but you're also contingent. What I'm saying is that it's possible for entities to exist without reference to time. So, for example, mathematics is a realm, or it's a discipline that can be done, if you like, or exists without reference to time. Same as logic itself. Logic itself is something. The rules of logic can be understood, can be demarcated without reference to time. So not everything that exists ontologically or metaphysically, extramentally, needs to exist with reference to time. Therefore, I can still make the contingency argument, because contingency as a concept, as an understood concept, could be made without reference.
Absolutely right.
Yes.
Absolutely right. But you have to prove it. Anyone can make an argument.
What do you mean prove it?
Well, that's what you're trying to do.
Yes.
You're trying to prove
So
that
you agree with
Allah
this point, yeah?
can know everything.
No, but good. So we agree on this point, right? So we agree on the.
We'd agree. I mean, it would be kind of ridiculous if after all this time we arrived at that. No, I don't think something can depend on something. I mean, that's perfunctory.
No, not only that.
We agree that contingencies
Perfect,
exist.
but yes.
But you're setting out to prove that Allah definitely does exist.
But what I'm sure, yes.
And moreover,
Perfect.
To prove that he knows everything.
But what you also said here, which is very good.
The mountain.
Good. No, it's not the mountain. I think you're going to come to it. You're an intelligent man, and I believe you're going to come.
I'm a genius. You're in a hopeless cause, but you're giving it a good go.
Yeah, thank you. So if I'm going against a genius like you, then hopefully I'll learn, because I always like to learn more.
Maybe we have different worldviews.
Yes, good.
I'll do what I can.